Josh Green here for Seconds Out. Delighted to be joined by Delicious Ori here in the GB Boxing Gym in Sheffield. How are you doing?
I'm very well, very excited. I can't complain.
Yeah, it's an exciting time of the year with the European Games coming up and obviously the Olympics not too far around the corner as well. Was this where things started getting interesting for you?
Yeah. The end of the camp, I'm feeling good. I just can't wait to go, really. Like, there's nothing really much to say from that aspect of things.
I wanted to get into your boxing journey a little bit because it's been a really interesting one. Obviously, we know one side of your family from Russia, the other from Nigeria. You settled in Wolverhampton. Where did the story start for yourself?
So you mean the boxing journey? For me, so it's fairly late. I started boxing at 18 years old. My first fight was when I was 19, so it was a late journey, something that I wasn't used to growing up. Mum and dad weren't, from that background of boxing or any martial arts or any kind of combat sport, so it was something that I picked up myself. Growing up, I was very much put into the school system, like as in, how do I put it? I was made sure to, get into university and work hard at uni. So for me, it was just like I just had to work. Academically, I had to be spot on in that aspect. But boxing came a little bit later. I just thought, I'm going to give it a go and go for it, see what happens.
Where did that desire come from? Because you say it came at 18 years of age. Most of the fighters in here were fighting since they were 7, 8, maybe 9 years old. For you, a little bit later.
Yeah, growing up as a teenager and a young adult, it's always been quite difficult for me. I've always had to go through obstacles. Like, for example, coming to the UK, 7, 8 years old, I had to, again change in terms of the culture and having to learn English, having to excel in school, and all that sort of pressures on my back as well. So I've always been that kind of driven individual. What tipped it for me was, seeing guys who've done it in the past. Started boxing at 18 years old, likes of AJ and Joe Joyce and Deontay Wilder. All these guys have done it in the past. So it was only right for me to give it a go, and it really looked like something I could do and actually enjoy doing. I knew it was hard, but it was something I was willing just to go for.
And someone that you're fighting under is Rob McCracken here at the GB Boxing Gym. He's obviously had a lot of success with heavyweights and super heavyweights in the Olympic discipline. You mentioned a couple of names there, AJ, Joe Joyce. It must give you a huge amount of confidence that you're working under him.
Yeah, massive. And I've always said this to myself when I go out to these major tournaments, not even the majors, any kind of tournament. These coaches here, they know what to do and they know that I'm more than ready, and that's why they've put me in this position I'm in. And that gives me so much confidence, seeing the super heavyweights, the big boys done it in the past, winning those medals. I know that I'm more than capable of doing the same thing, and I've always had that same mindset since I was 18. It just solidifies it, being here and seeing the guys do it, the greats do it in the past.
You talk about being driven. I know outside the ring you've studied for a degree as well. During that time, I don't know if you're still studying now, but you've obviously got to balance this with a career in boxing.
Oh, I'll tell you, I wish I was. I wish I was still studying. If I didn't box, I would still be. I'll still carry on studying. I would have done a master's, and I would have done a PhD. To be honest with you, but I think I hit a crossroad after my undergrad degree. I thought, okay, I secured my first, and I thought, all right, there's this point now where it's like I need one focus. I need to focus on one thing. It's possible to do two, but my dad always tells me a jack of all trades, a master of none. So when I came to that sort of crossroad, I thought, okay, I'm going to take one thing and I'm going to do it properly to the best of my ability. I was able to get on GB during the time of being at university and balancing them both. Imagine what I can do with my time if I just purely focus on the sport, and that was my mindset now. So it's been 2 years now. So I still do a little bit of reading. I'm still making sure I'm up to date with the financial affairs and economics of the world, but definitely nothing formal or concrete.
mentioned some of those big names earlier. Have you had time to share the ring with people like Fraser Clark and AJ? And if so, how much did you learn from those occasions?
Oh yeah, so the two names you've mentioned, I've had experience with them. Fraser Clark, the bronze Olympic medalist at the last Olympics of Tokyo, has literally put me through it. It put me through it. I've done many rounds with him. I've worked so hard. And I've always said, like, to be fair, if it wasn't for him, he's somebody who's sort of dragged me from that domestic scene to the international scene, because he's been there, done that. He's been to every tournament, he's sparred everybody, he's boxed everybody. So I knew that when I was here sparring with him, I was getting all that experience off him. So and we'd done a lot of rounds. So it was something that it's genuinely priceless what I've been doing with Fraser when he was on the program. I've also got to get some work in with Anthony Joshua in his past few fights a couple of years ago. Really enjoyed it. Again, someone who was my role model from the beginning, someone who I seen on television for the first time, and I thought, I'm going to be just like that guy. And then 2-3 years later, actually being able to share the ring right here in this gym with him. Not just share the ring, but be able to communicate and talk with him afterwards, before, and get that experience of him that way. Absolutely priceless. So I couldn't be in a better place here. I really couldn't.
AJ obviously finds himself now in a position where he's lost a few fights and he needs to get back on the winning trail. It looks, although it may be Dillian Whyte next, a very interesting fight for the fans. Would you back AJ to win that one?
Oh, of course I'll back AJ to beat Dillian Whyte. For me, I don't think he needs to do anything. He just needs to go out there and entertain and do what he's good at, which is boxing, really. Whoever he fights, I'll always support him. He should do the job against Dillian Whyte, but we'll see what happens.
Fraser Clark as well, who's not long been out the GB gym, really moving very quickly in his professional career. He was obviously touted to be fighting for the British Heavyweight Championship against Fabio Wardley. What were your thoughts on that breaking down? Because I'm sure from Fraser's point of view, very disappointing.
Oh, I'm gutted. I'm gutted for them both. I think it would have been a fantastic fight for both of them. I think it's just a perfect timing for both of them as well. So it's a shame, because that would have been a big fight and a good name to have on both of their records. And it'd be very good for British boxing, for heavyweight boxing as well, because they're two top talents. It is a shame, but it is what it is. It's what it is. You know, this is like, it's pro boxing. Unfortunately, I'm going to be in the mix, and I learn from these guys, and I'm like, yeah, this is how it is going to be. Unfortunately, you know, the amateurs, you get in there, you draw the world champion, you box him. There's no such thing as, oh yeah, I'll do this, or oh, I won't fight for this, or no, you get in there and compete. And this is why I love amateur boxing. But it's something that I probably have to get accustomed to when the time's right.
Last couple for you. Russian athletes obviously will be competing under a neutral flag. We don't have a full decision on the Olympics as yet. You were born in Russia, of course, and part of your family is Russian. What are your views on that?
What's going on at the moment in Russia is just, it's horrible. It's disastrous. I've got family over there, and they're really going through it. The perception that I'm getting is the general public don't want it, and it's a shame for the athletes. But unfortunately, politics is a lot bigger than boxing, and it's a lot bigger than us athletes, and it's something that we cannot control. It's affected GB boxing as well, because we couldn't go out and compete in tournaments. We were restricted that way. But the way I look at it is, all we can do is just do the best every day, and just look after ourselves and make sure that we strive to get better every day.
Thank you very much for your time, Delicious, and I look forward to the coming tournaments.
Thank you very much for having me.
Good man.